Hi, hello, this is JulesTheHuman here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, JulesTheHuman, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today we're talking about The God of High School, episode 5 through 9. We did 5 episodes today, so we're going to go through them because next week is our last time talking about The God of High School. We're going to finish the season and then rate it on the board here. We have a ton of anime that we've already seen this season. All of them are on there. We have so many more to get through. So we have an anime chest here, tons of anime that are picked by you, and I still got to add one. I got to figure out which one I want to add. But
yes, your
if
turn to add one.
yeah, I need to add one. I'll let you know before I guess next week. But if you would like to add an anime to the board, into the chest, go ahead and give a $5 super chat on YouTube, $5 super chat on YouTube, or 500 bits on Twitch, and that goes both to me and Matt, and you get your anime put into the chest for us to watch later on. But I don't go on this anime journey alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good. I'm ready to talk about some more God of High School. It's been giving me everything that I want, and I'm really happy right now.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just basking in the glory that this show exists in because, wow.
It's a lot of fun. And I do want to talk a little bit about broadly in the top, but I always associated, probably because it has God in the title, of another anime that we watched in the past, Tower of God.
Yes.
And I saw like the animation of Tower of God, and I just associated the two together for some reason. I was like, I don't know. And maybe because they're both like manhwa adaptations. So I like
have the same like art style of sorts.
Yeah, I thought they were like
webtoon-esque nature.
Yeah, sort of. So I always like just saw both of those, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to jump into both of those, even though I know they have no association. But as far as manhwa adaptation goes, I am liking this so much better than Tower of God. And I hate to like compare the two because they're totally different. But like you're saying, this is giving me everything I want. They're taking risks. It's animated, very fun, and there's little nuances that I do want to get into later on. But like there's little nuances here in animation as well, and it's just a really cool time, and I'm really enjoying this anime. Thank you, Dawn Rose. Thank you, Keelan, for your 5 months. Oh, I didn't even know it was like it's so brightly green, different than the super chat. Thank you for 5 months. Appreciate it. Thank you. Shout out to everybody watching live on YouTube or Twitch. Appreciate you. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm really happy this anime is going, and it goes by so fast, but then like in some of these episodes it goes down slower for me as I was watching,
because
and it's
like,
just like
the B plot kind of starts to get more attention, and so it feels like the blazing pace of just watching the tournament action episode to episode, it starts to slow down after we get into like the nationals arc, so to speak, because there's more parts moving between the fights. So the overall pace does slow down for sure, but the show gets you invested with the high pace that it starts off with, and I can feel it building up towards something that could be really a really great finale for first season. I mean, honestly, out of these episodes, we get kind of a point where like I was like, that could have been it for me. Like I am so satisfied with like if that was like where this story ended, like yeah man, like that's awesome, but we get more. I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's get into it. We have a lot of episodes to go through. Episode 5, Rhonda Hound.
So
I don't know. Episode 5, what happens?
Jin moves on to finals with haste, meeting up with Mira, who shares her thoughts on her bout with Han, who we see with his comatose friend. Han's actions are contextualized through a contract with Park, who shows up during the fight with Jin to reveal that Han's friend has passed away, thus nullifying their contract. Mira gives Han a note from his friend before Jin and Han fight each other with a rekindled friendship, finishing things off. Boom. Episode 5, like, show ends, I'm good. Man,
what, really?
That was a good story.
No way. I mean, I definitely agree.
You know,
it felt
it felt like it was just able to do a lot with just this episode 1 through 5. And I'm not saying that like I want the show to end there at all, but I'm just like, man, I am so hyped for this moment, and it is such a climactic feeling thing, and like all the parts kind of came together that like if Jin wins the tournament and like, whatever, like,
Like you're saying, this could have been the finals because we're in the
yeah,
regionals right now.
it felt very like for an episode 5, it felt very emotionally intense and very high point and very like we got a lot of payoff out of it. So
Yeah,
what I
dude, I
feeling of payoff makes me feel like, whoa, just if that was it, like I got a lot out of it. But
it's
obviously I don't want that to be where the show ends because it can go so much further with
it's
with
so
what's going on.
intense. Like this episode gave me so many feels, like you're saying, emotional payoff in this like I don't know if I was ready, you know what I mean? I don't know, a little different than you. Like I just wanted more and I didn't know. I think I agree with you with the finality because after this episode, I'm like, how are they going to top that? Because right now in episode 5, I was like crying, bro. I was like feeling it, emotions with all the Han stuff, and it was crazy. So we get a lot of flashback from Han about the person who's in the hospital who he's fighting for. We get the final or the first fight between Han and Jin. This is the very first time that they ever like touch really in a battle sense, and you can see all the stuff like you're saying. All the stuff Han's going for, and the nuance I wanted to bring in to this conversation is that like they're doing a lot in these episodes of showing and not telling. And if you get it and if you see it, it enhances your experience. If you don't, then that's fine. Like the thing that I noticed was at the beginning, the way Han and Jin were fighting, they're not talking. Well, first off, it's not telling you. They're not talking. It's all fight action animation. Han, you can see in his punches, he's going for the kill. He's fighting reckless. He's gonna hurt Jin like he hurt Mira. You feel that. And Jin has like some sort of evasion tactics to where he's getting his kicks in, but you could tell he's kind of holding back and he's not trying to go in for the kill like Han is. And I'm like, that's so cool to visually see that. Like, if you didn't catch it, that's fine. But I was like looking and I was like, oh, this is how they're choreographing this fight. And I loved it. It was just
Mhm.
great.
The fights are very well choreographed for sure, and you can feel the weight when they have intensity, but you can, like you said, later on in the fight, you can tell. I mean, it's they're not saying it; it's showing it that they're like kind of pulling their heavier hits right before they land because they're not there to do that to that nature
Yeah.
with in bad spirit. They're there to push each other to become stronger at that point.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Cosmo, Poppy Jules, and Zaddy Galley. Yes, we're here talking about anime. The God of High School. Hello, hello, over there. I like those little dinos there. Bro, when Han says, "I never considered you a friend," or that we weren't friends at all, and it's like, fuck, like
It's
we
like
haven't
you
spent
you
so
know
much
you
time
we
with these
know we
characters.
know he doesn't mean that. Like,
Yeah,
we
but
just know as an audience.
him saying it,
But
I
yeah,
was like,
exactly.
oh, to Jin, who is the nicest kid, it's like, oh, my heart, man. And it's a good reason. And I also want to talk about for this episode, the nano machine, sort of, because it does make sense that I didn't even think about it. Like, of course, you can use the nano machines to cure the entire world's struggles. And maybe that's another conversation we could have. Like, why aren't they using the nano machines to help everybody in the world with their pain and heal them instantly? But Han wants to win so that they can use the nano machines on his friend to get him out of the, stasis or the way he's in. And it's like, yeah, like I didn't even think about that, like how Han would use that wish, but of course it was right in front of our faces the whole time. The nano machines that they use for the fighters. It's insane. Um, the fight continues. Han using like 3 ultimates, and I love Han's fighting style. It's crazy. Um, the note to to give it his all.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
he was
emotionally
in the note
charged.
that's like, it's crazy to think that somebody's out there putting their life on the line for me, but now I want you to live for yourself. It's like
Yeah, the note says
that's
Seung Tae is
a really
happy.
good message. That's like, hey, I'm gonna be in more ways than this, but one of the underlying ways that I take it is I'm leaving, so don't let that weigh you down.
Sungtae is happy, has no regrets, and he wants the same for Han and to fight for your own sake. And the ink animations, like they're just taking risks and like it's rewarding. Like I
Yeah.
fuck it. You know what I mean? They were like, we have this full animation. We've done a lot of animation fighting. Let's try this. Let's change the animation style to have like the ink and the strokes of the ink pen quill. And it's like, oh, that's so beautiful. It's just so fulfilling to watch this anime.
Rush.
It's so yeah, the brush. There it is. Jin wins with a new move. And there's I don't know if you saw the after credits for this one, but there was a shrine for Songtae, and Han is like, or is Han's there and he's looking at the little like
After credits?
Yeah, after the credits.
Oh, I didn't see that then.
It was really short.
Credits.
No, there's never been one before, I don't think, but this one had it where Han's there and he's at the funeral place where they keep him in like a little cube or however they do it in Japan. I'm not too sure, but he put a little picture. I think it was this picture or a picture like this one where they're hanging out, and he says he's not alone anymore, haha. And it was like, oh, so good. Emotional on this 5th episode. Insane. Let's get into episode 6, Fear 6. What happens in episode 6?
Jin's grandpa is shown to be approached by the cult we've seen previously. Mira wins her fight for 3rd place, locking her in with the other two as a team for nationals. Park is shown to believe that the key to the god of high school is somewhere amongst the contestants. Jin's grandpa is attacked by the cult at the same time that they begin to make their moves on different employees of the God of High School tournament. Jin, Han, and Mira all train themselves to get stronger for nationals, and we are introduced to a host of new characters all at once in time for our trio to head to the stadium for nationals. However, it seems that the cult Nox has begun to move more pieces.
We see Jin Taijin, who we've kind of talked about, who is Jin's grandpa, and he's meeting with the cult. The cult tried to kill him, and now we get information that it's going to be a team competition, which I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I figured we weren't going to get rid of our 2 other main characters, but that's fine. Mira becomes the 3rd. And Park changed the rules because all the people, or most of the people in the regions, possess the possibility of being the key, and they are all tiger cubs. And then Park also mentions that he summoned the 6. How do you feel about main characters that, like Jin, because he mentioned it and it kind of went over in this episode? They questioned him, I think, about he wants to be strong because being stronger is just cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see that a lot in main characters or side characters where the big brawly guys just like, I just want to be strong. I want to be stronger than everybody else.
I think on the surface, that whole motivation, like it seems very surface level. And we see that Jin kind of can be a simple, airhead. They call him an idiot and stuff. But, we know his good nature, so we root for him. But as the show goes on, by the end of these episodes, we come to learn that the reason that Jin probably wants to be really strong is so that way he can stand beside his grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they don't have to be apart anymore. So that's like, I feel like it's just him fronting for that true motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's exactly the type of person that wouldn't want to weigh others down with things like his heartaches over his grandfather being gone. And I mean, like we continue to see that with him.
Yeah, and I like that they give him that nuance rather than the other characters. And then they actually show us like what it means to be strong, what it means for him to be strong, because he had that connection with the grandpa. He's like, don't go away, like all that stuff. That whole scene later on, it's really good. Something about Park's Charyok. How do you say it? I forgot to say it.
Charyok?
Yeah, Charyok. Something I noticed in this episode is that we don't really see Parks. Like, we see him do some crazy shit, but it's all invisible to us. And I'm wondering she's shown like multiple abilities, because in this one, he duplicates himself whenever he's looking at, or whenever he goes to talk to Na Bongchim, who is the trainer. It's like, Chalupa. Oh, okay. The Chalupa power. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have that's what their power is called, the Chalupa. Um so it's like, what is Park's Charyok? Like, what is his ability really? Because he seems to be one of the most powerful ones, whereas everybody has sort of one thing, like a stand, I guess, and he's exhibiting more than that.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting.
I think he
Uh,
just has something that's probably so strong it has like multiple ways of helping him.
sure,
Kind of
but
like
the
how the go ahead.
no, but the thing is that we don't see it.
Yeah,
Like, we can see the
he
the
doesn't have to manifest
manifestation.
anything. Yeah,
That's insane. That's crazy.
maybe it's
Because
just
he's
maybe he's just that strong that he's able to do those things, and he hasn't even manifested his Charyok yet. Charyok.
oh, okay. Oh, like he's the what if he's the key?
What if the real Charyok were the friends we made along the way?
Jin Taijin is still alive, and there's a giant sword. Where is it? Jesus Christ. They just
I know
insane.
not whose child it is. It existed before God.
It's kind of crazy. I like this because we're getting more of that B plot, like you were saying, and like
Yes.
I'm invested.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Because again, it gave us all the characters in a very quick fashion. It got them right into what the beef of the show's gonna be, and then it kind of lets off a little bit after it gives them like the characterization. It throws them each through their own little kind of like personal turmoils, with Mira having the marriage thing, and then Han having the his friend passing away. So we get to see each of those before our main character gets thrown into the dilemma of your missing grandfather has been kidnapped
Hmm.
potentially. So I like where the show is like giving its time and attention. I feel like it's very well balanced to keep the audience interested and the plot moving forward at the same time, while never forgetting what it wants to be, which is this really cool romp through a tournament with all these different fighting styles and stuff.
Like I said, if it was gonna be all that, just fighting and doing the whole thing, like, yeah, it's great. And if they just kept the animation like it is, that
Like
would
you
have been
said, that
great.
then it becomes more of just something like the other show you were mentioning, Record of Ragnarok, where they're just
Mhm.
standing there shouting exposition at each other.
Which they kind of do later on. I think in like episode 7, when we meet some new characters and they're fighting and we get a lot of like backstory on them. It is a
A
little
little
bit of
bit.
that, but I really like that they're adding this other thing that they can switch to on and off, because I'm enjoying, like you're saying, all the new characters. We get more information about Sim Bongsa, who is the announcer guy who is blind, I guess. And the moonlight sword blinded him. We get more information about Charyok, what's being used, powers and abilities of otherworldly beings. We get a bunch of characters: Jigal, Tyke, and all of the 6 members: the Great Magician, the Hulk, the Lone Shark, the Old Man, Rebirth, Tiger Cub. And they all have names associated with them. We got to get really flashed by through all of them. Like, dope. Here we go. And Nox kills Simbongsa in this wild. I don't know. It just like, it's foreboding. It's like
Menacing.
giving menacing, yeah. And it's just crazy. And he was prepared to like fight. Like I was down to see him fight, but he went down, and that kind of sucks. And then we get that whole at the end about someone taking out Q, who is one of the administrators. Episode 7, Anima Force. What happens in episode 7?
Our trio is the first team up, and Jin immediately flubs and throws his match, leaving them down 0-1. Han is able to turn the tables on his opponent despite their Charyok attack, and the Nox subplot continues to get more attention as Q is assaulted while at home, followed by Mira defeating her opponent with the advice from the announcer. Jagal is stopped by Han while beating his opponent to a pulp, uh leaving the announcer to step in and break them up before he just continues to attack the guy.
I love Jin. He try the pressure points that I guess he learned from
From the
Dr.
divine
Nabok
doctor.
Chim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just fucked up. I know, and like in tournaments, because there's a lot of tournaments in wrestling too. Like we know no matter how strong a guy is in a tournament, like with multiple bouts, there one of them's gonna have to lose. And it's okay if your big main guy loses or something. And I was like, how are they going to make Jin lose here? Because he seems to be unstoppable. And I love that that's the way they did it. It was by his own design. And it was like, oh, that's funny. And like the little chibi stuff, I'm so down for the chibi stuff.
Every time they're drawn like that, it's great.
There was one earlier. Let me see where it is. The Mira with her glasses like that is so cute.
And then Hans just like arms crossed, embarrassed by him.
And it's like so funny because like you can characterize, you know what they are, like you know who they're supposed to be, and it's like really cute. I love the little chibi versions of them. It's so great. We get introduced to the 38-year-old high schooler, and we get a lot of backstory on the opponents. I thought, I don't know, I this was the one point where I was like, they didn't need to do all that. I'm sure they do like a couple chapters maybe in the manga or the manhwa, and I didn't think they needed all that for him. Was it worth it for Han to just take him out like that, and then for Mira to win the fight there? I don't think it was. I don't know. That was the one point in these 5 episodes where I'm like, they could have shortened it a little bit. I don't know.
They could have
too
shortened
much.
that up. Yeah. For how much like impact it seems to be holding long term. But if it comes around and like those characters are more like, long-term characters, then I understand. But for what we know so far, it seems like that it was a lot of filler time for sure.
Yeah, that was the first point. And for that to be in episode 7, like I'm fine with that, because that was the first time where I'm like,
gonna
do we
forget
need
about
to know?
that.
Yeah, I'll forget about it. It's not a big deal.
If that's the only, if that ends up being the only offender. Because as we get into the next fight, it's definitely not the same, where we get more just of the straight to the point with the action and the fighting, because as the Nox people kind of start to reveal themselves, so to speak.
Hello, Karma. Hi, we're talking about God High School, episode 7. We're going through the episodes. How are you? We get new characters here, which are very interesting. Exley and Saturn, and I don't know if they made like a whole. I don't know if one's the other. I'm assuming the Exley is the guy and Saturn's the girl. They didn't really make a distinction. I didn't catch. I don't know. But everyone sort of has a Charyok, which is kind of insane. I love the girl where she's just cussing up a storm. And it was just
bleeping out her dialogue.
Bleeping out everything.
It's so funny.
It's insane.
It caught me off guard. The little bleeps.
It was really funny. You read the manhwa or not? No, we go through a bunch of anime in rapid pace. We watch them a couple of shows at a time every week, and we don't have a chance to read all of them. These are the ones that are coming up that we pick after we're done with this one. And today we're talking about 5 episodes, so we just watch the anime together and discover new anime and stuff like that. So no, unfortunately, we haven't watched this one or read this one. Mira wins. The hospital explodes. Find out there's a traitor possibly in the commission somewhere. Taijin's arm was found, and Jiggle Taik's shark Charyok is kind of insane. I really like his. Probably my favorite so far, other than Jin's like dragon sort of. I like the whole just shark just menacing right behind him. This is an episode early, but
that's fine. When he uses it in the ring versus his opponent, it's like with how much audio, like you kind of just see it. You see him getting like nommed on, but it goes off screen to cut to reactions of everybody, and the way people are reacting and the way the audio is like signaling, it sounds like he's literally being eaten alive, but man still gets back up, and I'm just like, how are you even standing?
I love that they always get the audience reaction, and it shows like us, like that's supposed to be us, like,
Exactly.
oh, like this is too much. Like a lot of the
Not allowed.
times, yeah,
Not
we've seen in
allowed.
fights Han versus Mira where they're like, should we be watching this? This is kind of a lot. It's just really crazy. And yes, he's just chomping on him, and there's just blood like everywhere. It's
And then
crazy.
he just stands back up, like casting his little spell again. I'm just like, my brother, you do not
Yeah.
stand a chance.
I never thought Megalodon, I don't know how to spell the shark name, but I love shark abilities. Yes. I don't know if I liked the shark in Chainsaw Man. He was kind of
Dude,
silly.
what? No, he's great.
Okay, I read the manga. Maybe he's better in the anime. He's just, yeah, I mean, he's good. He's cool. He's just a little silly, a little too silly. That's fine.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Episode 8, Close Friend. What happens in episode 8?
Park doesn't disqualify Jeagle as he believes it's possible that he could be one of the keys. We are introduced to Park
Ilipio?
Ilpio?
Oh,
Was
yeah,
it
Ilpio.
Ilpio? And his team as he leads using his strategies. Han is suspended for his previous interference, and Ilpio takes the ring using an antiquated fighting style. Jin is Jin is questioned over the circumstances of his grandfather's attack, but he affirms that there's nothing to worry about, and later on meets Ilpio in the park. Ilpio defends Jin from an attack by Jeagle, and Han strikes a deal with Q to be taught how to use Charyok. Park Mujin believes there is a traitor amongst his team, and Han and Mira show up to celebrate Jin's birthday with him.
Cute. We love them. Hey, don't worry, you'll see more Shark Boy and CSM next season if we get another. I'm sure there's gonna be another one. Bro, did you see that Dan to Dan?
Yep, got announced for its
Oh,
first season.
ooh, I think I might like it better than the manga. Did you read it?
I have read the first volume.
Yeah, I read the first one.
I have the first 3, but I haven't read the second or third.
Yeah, I read the first 2, and the second one I was just like, I don't know. I think I would like it better in anime.
Same. That's exactly my thoughts.
Yeah, we get a whole new group of characters. Park Ilpio has a tiger on his back, which is interesting, which is the same as Jin Taijin's military uniform. We need more appreciation for the Chainsaw Man OST. It was beautiful. It's one of my favorites, and I love all the visuals of it. We haven't done Chainsaw Man, huh?
Nope.
That'd be good to do. The first season's over.
Yep.
Yeah, that might be mine because I haven't finished it.
Or
I read the manga.
so anyway.
So anyways, no. Ugh. Bro, if somebody put I die.
I'm waiting for the
I'd
day
quit.
it happens. I'm waiting for the day it happens. Patiently.
We notice that Jin has been a little distant from the crew, and that's where we get like the flashback from 14 years ago about Jin's grandpa giving Ilpio, I don't know how to say that. Ilpio's his grandpa's Taekyon book to study or just to give it back to him. And I love that Jin is just there in the little baby carriage, and he's like, it's so funny that these characters met long ago, and he just has the little sleep mask on. He's just like ragdolling on his grandpa.
He's just a sleepy little guy.
It's so funny. Oh yeah, we said Han is suspended, so we have that. Jagal Tyke interrupts them when they're fighting. I really liked this sort of standoff, bro. This was kind of intense because the way the camera moved or the way the animation was, we just see the fist in his face, and we see that Jin pans out a little bit, and that Jin actually had him as well, and it's just like so dope. I love that.
Came up to him with a "You got games on your phone" energy.
Yeah,
like just
literally.
start smacking him. Like, hey, you got games on your phone? Like,
insane.
Pay attention to me.
So the continued non-payable interest, I guess, or the money that Q has been taken. I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. He's been his wages are being held for like 9 months, so he has no money, which is really, I did not expect these two to come together, and it's
Yeah.
so dope that Q and Han are there, that he's like, bro, you're broke, I can feed you, I want you to teach me, train me, let me get that Charyok.
I'll
And I'm
feed
like,
you every day.
it's really cool. I love that they're putting character, like we have this core set of characters. Now we have Q into the thing because we've seen Q a lot. And now he's being like more prominent in his position in the show. And it's really funny. We have something to connect with him on. Like he's like, oh, every time he gets more months of his pay taken off. It's like, oh shit, man, that sucks. And then we
And
finally see
now
him looking for
and
money.
yeah, and now we have the fight that kind of established him with that Charyok. So now
Mm-hmm.
later on when he's defending against like the people in his house, like his, and he pulls out his Charyok again, now it's like a payoff that we get to see him use it when it got like kind of teased before we really knew about the idea of Charyoks in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And I like
So
his.
I
His
feel
is
like
pretty
that's
good.
just, yeah, his is pretty cool. I think they call it the Reaper or something at one
Yeah.
point. I'm just like, oh yeah, that thing's, it's got the scythe and everything.
That's what I
It's a
pull
little
out
Reaper
in Final
boy.
Fantasy. Yeah. The cult and the commission are looking for the key. So what is this key that they're looking? They still haven't really explained it, right? They don't really explain the key
The
or the
thing
person that can.
they keep giving the contestants all the information for like, about the Charyok and about like the God of High School and stuff like this. But they don't like tell any of the contestants anything about the key that they're looking for because I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious the key is going to be like a person or something after they
Or they
unlock a certain amount of potential or something.
or everybody thinks it's going to be a person. Maybe the key is the friends we made along the way. Um I don't know. I do want to have a bigger discussion at the end about the key and what we think is going on. It's Jin's birthday, and they got a little bloop bloop on their little wrist. Why is that a thing? I don't know. Why not? Sure.
Maybe
I
wish him
love,
happy birthday.
yeah, go wish him happy birthday. I love that they're hanging out. I mean, this is just enough for me. Like, I don't need to see them shopping montage and stuff. Like, this is just enough for me to establish that these are friends and they have outside interests.
Hmm.
That Mira try to cook something and it's not great, and Hans, like, it's a great show of their personality. The way Hans like, this isn't great. Like,
Yeah,
bro, you messed
and
up here.
I just love how he just goes into his little rant about what she should have used
He's
and
like,
could have used, and then when he comes back to it, all the food's gone.
yeah, it's so good. I love that it's just enough comedy relief to all the craziness that we're seeing. That's the perfect amount for me. I'm ready to move on. Like, I'm
Exactly.
down to have them there and have this whole, there's no way we're gonna lose. There, everything's going, but then again, everything's going so great. We're all doing so well. We're all so happy. And then Jin gets a map to his tied up grandpa, and we go on to episode 9. So, what happens in episode 9? Curse cornered.
Jin takes off after his grandfather after receiving what seems like a ransom letter. Han and Mira scramble to find Jin at the arena, leaving Mira to attempt to stall out during her bout. Jin falls for the trap of a who appears to be a Nox assassin, then finding the bodies of the other contestants. He activates his pressure points to avoid feeling any pain. Meanwhile, Mira activates her Charyok, which is the spirit of Lubu. A stunning dual POV shot of Jin beating both his adversaries in the ring and during the ambush before revealing his new Jin style techniques. Everyone is left stunned and floored by Jin's performance.
Oh, bro, this,
Pretty good.
we'll get there. Jin skipping the
Pretty
tournament
good.
to save his grandpa. He was missing the quarterfinals. And Mira, I thought Mira was just going to go 2-0. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go, Mira. I'm so down for her to just fight 2 bouts. But Mira's going against first Lee Marvin. Jin finds his grandma, and Han finds another group of characters. Like, what was all that? What was that whole thing with Jagel's group. That like
Oh
we
yeah,
meet the
I
girl.
forgot to include that
Yeah,
part.
we meet
Yeah.
the girl like Kill Bill style, yellow
He's just
jumpsuit.
looking for, people, and he finds that the guy that he already fought knocked out, so he goes to like help him up, and then that chick just starts attacking him in the
And
jumpsuit,
kisses him.
kisses him.
So I think
I
that's the
can't
group
believe
to
I did
beat.
that.
Yeah.
So like one thing that like, so then it's revealed that, like they've all been duplicated, right? So it's just like, is that a guy duplicating her?
Oh, I don't know.
I just thought it
Oh,
would be funny.
maybe. I didn't
You
even
know
think
what
about
I
that.
mean? I'm just like, why?
Possibly,
Why are
yeah.
they acting like that? It could be because, I don't know. A little sus.
The Lee Marvin talks about how Mira's sword is a national treasure, how this is
Yes.
his now, and all this stuff. And I like that backstory stuff. Like this is like in the right hands, or the way he's explaining it, it should have been the sword they're looking for. And
Mhm.
now you're not the one, bro. So
You're not that guy,
I
pal.
took it. Yeah,
You're not that
Mira, you're
guy.
not that guy. So we're taking it and it's mine now, and I unlocked its power. So
But then
suck it.
she gets it back from him, but then it teleports back into his hand immediately.
That was cool.
And right when that happened, I was like, "Oh, she's just gonna like assume command of it or something." And then that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there you
Hmm.
go. But it still happened in a very satisfying way. It's just like as soon as it's the whole, "Oh, the sword chooses its master," it's like, what? Come on, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. So we get it's not his grandpa. Shocker. Honestly, I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be that, and I thought it was just going to be an ambush, but it turns out it was like the doppelganger
Yeah.
sort of deal.
Mhm.
And Jin takes on an explosion that levels the house, and he's still alive. He was like at the crux of the explosion, and he's just like, ugh. I'm like, okay, are we not going to talk about that? Because the house is just decimated. Whatever, man. That resolved.
He just pushed a pressure point right before the explosion happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That allowed him to just take on the brunt of that for sure. That's
Did
what
anybody else think about the Matrix when you were watching this? Because
yes, all the duplicates, all of the bodies that had to be Matrix inspired. The Kill Bill
definitely,
jumpsuit, Kill Bill inspired. Like it's wearing its inspiration on its sleeve, and it makes sense because it's a webtoon. So the original author is probably somebody that's just been influenced by all these different forms of media of different fighting styles and such.
even all the way that they were fighting, like they kept like the way the camera was too. Like
Mhm.
the camera work on it was very Matrix Revolution. I don't remember which Matrix it was, but like the way the people were running at him, he was like, and it was really cool. The animation was dope, and they had to do the whole get on top of him and break away. And I'm like, oh, the Matrix.
Exactly.
It was so good. I loved it. Jin survived, or what do we go to? Let's say Jin Taijin apparently survived the North Death Squad's Taekwondo, and he has defeated every member of the Sixth. So we know Jin Taijin is Ultima here in the story, and we
He's the
saw him
guy.
fighting before, but he is the guy of the world. The real Lee Marvin is dead, and the whole team is some other duplicate beings, people, whatever they are. And bro, I don't know why they're doing everything right in this anime, and I love it because, like we said in the last episode, it's just the rule of cool. It just reigns supreme. No matter what, we're gonna do something cool. And there's been a couple of times, and this is one of them, where I'm just like, oh, that's cold. Where Jin just does the fucking pressure. Or no, the guy's like, he's like, you're not, you're gonna be hurting. You should be hurting already
Yeah.
because of everything you've gone through. And he does the pressure points and says, for the next hour, I will feel nothing. Oh my
And I like
god.
that, he already got to use again, it's like the show's really good at doing its callbacks because we've already seen him try to use it once before and he messed up. So we know that like, he's already gotten a little a little flub out of the way, so now
Yeah.
he's locked in, bro. And it's like it just
He's
gives
locked.
it gives, for me, it gives it
Uh,
more weight and impact when we get to see them, like, see characters get their new skills after using it, falling on their face and having to work to actually getting to pay off from it. Like we see that time and time again with shonen, when they go through their training arc, so to speak. That's all what the training arc is so that they can up their power level and their power scale so they can handle the better tools that they have properly.
which connects to what I want to bring up as well, where Mira has her sort of awakening, because I was like, I didn't know where this was gonna go. Um, I didn't catch that she would like command the sword or something. I was just like, I don't know. She's done. Jin's gonna save her or something. But it feels so earned with Mira because of all the stuff that we've gone through with her. We know her backstory, we know what she's fighting for, and she's gone down a couple times. Like you're saying, she's trying to keep this blade, the moon, what is it called?
Moonlight style or
The
something like
moonlight
that.
style alive. And we know like it's good, but like up to a point, it's not the greatest yet, or she's not the greatest at implementing it how it needs to be. And it's just so fulfilling when she finally like does the whole Charyuk awakening. And I was like, is me I think I had a moment where I was like, is Mira the key? Because so far we think, and we're going to be led to believe that Jin is the key. Like he's the one, he's our main character. But I don't know why in this moment I'm like, is Mira the one? Because of the sword that she has, and everybody seems to like her sword or her staff or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And it's the one that's going to take down God, they think, the cult thinks. And I'm like, is Mira the actual key? I don't know.
The only thing that gives me pause is when he calls her sword like one of the national treasures. And
Okay,
that's like, so for me, it's like, okay, so there's more like, out there that's like at this strength, but it's like probably going to be like a different weapon or something like that.
sure.
But the whole with her transforming into the Charyok, that caught me off guard. I thought it was just going to be a moment under duress where she, like, he insults the moonlight style or something, and then she
She
gets
powers up.
powers up and then, like, gets the blade back. But she gets the blade back, but then her Charyok also activates, and it's one of the legendary heroes of the Three
Yeah.
Kingdoms period. So it's just like I'm just super floored with that, and it's just super cool. So and then at the same time you get Jin, who catches her right before she falls from, like, overexertion, and then the dual POV shot and him breaking out Jin style, bro. He's just out here creating his own fighting
He's like,
style. Like, I'm
he
just like,
heard,
dude, it's going for it, and I'm like, I'm here. This is fun. I like this.
he heard that Charyoks are powers and abilities borrowed from otherworldly beings, and he's like, hold my beer. No,
Hold my beer.
hold my beer. We have Jin style, and we're doing it. But Mira gained 1,000 aura with the great hero Lu Bu Fengxin. Feels very earned, and I really like that. Jin does make it to the battle, and like you said, just goes insane. I love the movement. The animation is so cool looking. Jin has Blue Dragon Original and then Blue Dragon Original 2. First off, I was like, if Blue Dragon Original was as good as it was, he shouldn't have gotten up. So now that I'm like, in wrestling terms, like that should have been his finisher, but it wasn't. So now I'm like, is that really a good move? Or how powerful is
Well,
it?
it's like, it's for me, it's just like they had a few lines about it when we saw Han pull off his combo the first time. They were like, oh, his first move, he like threw his opponent off balance. The second move,
Oh,
he like broke their guard, and then the third move he went in for the kill. So for me, it's like,
okay.
something like that where, this first move is to throw them off balance, then follow it up by the second move. And we even see we see that with Mira too, which makes that fight feel earned, where she starts using, before, this is like after she's disarmed, she starts using her different fighting techniques
Sort,
that we've
yeah.
seen her use isolated, like
Hmm.
in combination with each other. So she uses one move to open up and follow up immediately with another, when we've seen her just use them like isolated at two different points in other fights. So that's something else that makes that whole power up feel earned, where she's becoming a stronger and more intuitive fighter. She's meeting stronger fighters and getting advice and feedback, learning that you shouldn't always power through an opponent. Sometimes you need to just find the right moment to strike and then have that be it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nuance in the fighting. It's not just, and no hate to like Dragon Ball Z or anything, but there's like just, bundles of fighting and fists and stuff sometimes, and then like it's like, oh, he has the new move, or oh, he has the next step up in power. But like this, like if you're watching and paying attention, there's just so much payoff in like what you catch and how they evolve and how they fight. And it's just really cool to see, not only visually, but like it's cool to see these characters changing, like you said, changing their fighting style a little bit and doing some new stuff. But like,
It
I don't
also,
know.
like, just for me too, like, it reminds me of like fighting games. When
Yeah.
you first start playing fighting games, tournament fighting games, even Smash Brothers, you're just kind of like using moves, throwing them out there. You don't really
No, you just gotta
like
spam.
you're just, yeah, you're just spamming what you think the strong attacks are, so to speak. And
Yeah.
at the lower levels, that's going to be what works. People are going to be throwing big haymakers at each other, and that's what that first battle royale we saw was. It was just a bunch of people throwing their haymakers out there. And then as the fights get more developed, as we get into the stronger fighters up the ladder, yeah, you're gonna have to be more on your toes. You're gonna have to think more with your fighting, and it's not just gonna be having the better attack always. It's gonna be like, being able to implement it in the right ways.
It's insane. I really like it. I also want to bring the question up, like, would people that are not fans of fighting anime or like tournament style, would they be fans of this anime? Because I'm finding a lot of the fun in, like we're talking about, the fighting style stuff, the growing power level, and just the animation of it. Would somebody that's not shonen or fighting anime person or like that content, would they still like this anime because of all the other stuff? The B plot, we have the character development, we have a fun group of three, a fun trio here. Do you think that people that don't normally go for this kind of content, they would enjoy it?
I definitely think people that enjoy like kung fu movies, especially like the ones that are more over the top,
Hmm.
um, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon esque type stuff. I think that anybody that likes that type of media but hasn't watched anime would love this. I don't know how little of a crossover there would be, because I feel like people that are into that type of media kind of like crossover into some anime territory naturally by proxy. But that's the first thing that, if you like that type of stuff but don't watch anime, I know people like that would like it.
I would even
But
say like Kill Bill too, because this is
sure, yeah. Like
it's
even
a
stuff like Kill Bill. I
mhm.
think if you've seen something like that but you're not, and you like it and you want more and you're not into anime, this would be a perfect springboard into it, because again, it starts off giving you exactly what you want, and it's as the story progresses that the little building blocks it sets, it starts to build off of more and more and more, instead of just like overloading itself from the front and expecting you to kind of like just pick up all the exposition, because we don't want
Mhm.
to sit there and get a huge exposition dump as we're trying to get into a new show. We want to jump in and be entertained. And so it gets that done first, and then it gives you exposition through character interactions, versus just versus character interactions that are moving the story forward as well. versus just giving the exposition so the characters can move the story forward.
Mm-hmm. But somebody that likes, I don't know, what is it called? Slice of life or
So
horror?
if you like anime, like if that's what you mean by that, if you like anime but
Yeah,
you're like not into more action type anime,
yeah.
I think this is something that would be good because for the same reasons I was saying before. I think that it checks a lot of boxes, that it's wearing its inspiration on its shoulders, but it's also kind of setting out to be its own thing and kind of build this unique world that has some intrigue. I just feel like as we see more parts of this world moving, like I feel like there are more like little corners of it that we aren't being shown that could be there, that could also hold like interesting stories and characters.
Sure.
Because right now it's definitely going to be focused on our main trio as the protagonists and this the Tower of God. But then as like we start to see Charyokes of greater ability and power, I'm just like, what's going on in the rest of the world outside of this tournament? you know
And why is everybody so okay with seeing Charyokes? Like, why is everybody just
there was a dragon, a serpent dragon on Q's building at one point, and I was just like, is
oh,
everybody else just
that
looking out
was
their window like, hey, what's going on?
forgot
Can
about
nobody else
that.
see it? It
Yeah,
was a
that was
serpent
insane.
dragon, man.
Just clutching the sides of the building like what's his name? King Kong.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and I mean, they've shown in the actual tournament that people are reacting to something, but they haven't shown us like that there's nothing there. Like sometimes they would like switch back to it and have us view from the audience eyes and what they see, and there's nothing there. It's just like they're flying or something. I don't know, or they get hit really hard. So I don't know if it's like like a Demon Slayer situation where the stuff isn't actually there. It's just the manifestation or like the idea of the things happening.
Yeah.
And we see it as the anime watcher. They haven't really confirmed any of that, or they it's more leaning towards this is happening and 8 million people are seeing it, or 8 billion people are seeing it all over the world. But I want to go back. I definitely think because of how fast paced it starts, I definitely so far I'm assuming it's going to end well. Next week we're going to talk about how it ends. We're going to watch the last 4 episodes and give our rating. But I think with how dense it is in story and character and how it picks up, I think it's one of the better ones to watch if you're not an action fan, because some people I've heard that aren't super fans of that, like said Demon Slayer slow or something like that. Or like I know Attack on Titan sort of starts a little slow too, but just the way that this starts off right at the beginning, like
Mm-hmm.
as an action anime, I think that's one of the better ones to start if you're not a fan to right off the bat and you don't know what you're going to get yourself into. I think this is like really cool and I'm really enjoying it. Where do you think it's going? What do you think is going to be our culmination? Do you think they're going to go all the way and finish it? Do you think it's going to be a season 2? I'm pretty sure there's going to be a season 2, but like
There's
where
got to
does it
be a
end?
season 2.
Where does it
But
end with season 1?
where does it end with season 1? I think it ends with the tournament like ending at because we go to finals, and the final match is kind of what causes the catalyst moment for the key, and the key appears, and then Nox kind of like makes their big move, and it maybe gets into like a kind of like a war arc of sorts, maybe on a smaller scale, of the God of High School Association versus the Cult of Nox, because we see that Nox is capable of providing interesting villains to have with the assault on Q's house.
But
So
they're not doing anything like I want to know what their motivation is, because they're not using their powers, or at least we haven't seen yet. They're not using their powers on normal people. They're fighting to get this key. So it doesn't feel like it's like a
as in
terrorism.
Nox, or as in the
Nox.
tower Nox.
Yeah.
It feels like they're trying to subvert the plans uh of the
The
god.
commissions.
the God of High School tournament, yeah, it feels like they're trying to subvert the plans to acquire whatever it is that's gonna be the key to like destroy it or something, because to attempt to attain the power of the gods is heresy. So yada yada, evil villain stuff.
So, in your opinion,
Who are the
who's the
bad
right
guys?
group? Yeah, who are the
Yeah,
bad guys?
exactly. I mean, I guess that all depends on what Park's intentions are with the key. Like, what is the point of finding it? So you can take the power for yourself, or so you can assure that the power is in the right hands, but with great power comes great responsibility, yada yada. Or is it is it to keep it from falling into the hands of Nox?
The big thing, the big question marks for me are the ideas that Nox went after Jin's grandpa and tried to kill him. I'm like, what's that about? But also, why is Jin's grandpa not with the Six? Or was he never a part of the Six? I don't think so. He's defeated them. But like, why is there separation? They know of each other, and where does Park or Jin Taijin sit and in these two other groups? Because ultimately, I think Park is bad.
I feel like he's a vagrant that more or less would want to be like left alone so he could be with Jin, but it's one of those things where he just became too incredibly powerful that now there's always going to be like a price on his head and people
Mhm.
after him. I mean, I feel like that's where he would sit, because it's when we see him, like, he's just chilling in the forest, and then what is his reaction to attacking his assailants? Look what you made me do to freaking beautiful Mother Nature, man.
Yeah,
Like, it's like like, how do
it's
he's
so
just like
good.
Jin, like he's just a good spirited person that doesn't want to do any type of harm, probably,
Yeah.
but he's being put in situations where he is forced to defend himself, and that's like, it seems like all he's doing. That's why as I see the sword dropping, he doesn't move an inch, when I'm sure it's like, if he's remotely anywhere as powerful as Jin is, like, I'm sure he could have just jumped up to that guy and kicked him right in the jaw, taking his head clean off, unless the sword had some sort of like uh effect on him, but it didn't seem like it. So I don't know. I'm staying skeptical and in Jin's boat of you should be worried about the other guys and not my grandpa.
Or is Jin Taijin the bad guy? And these two are trying to stop him from, I don't know.
Do you subscribe to that theory?
No, but
Just
I
throwing it out
mean,
there.
yeah, I mean, it could be the ultimate twist, but I
So
do
then
think,
what do you think, where do you think we're going to be by episode 12
I agree that we're going to be at the
or 13?
end, um, at the end of it. I think Jin is gonna be the key. For a moment, I thought it was Mira, but I think Jin is gonna be the key, and I think, um, I don't know. I think it's gonna what's it called? Like duplicate in mass, because right now we are in this little squared circle fighting this tournament. In the finals, at some point, it's gonna break away, and the world's gonna be in peril for something. I think it's gonna get that exponentially big, and the people are going to be crazy, like, oh my god, what's happening? Like, they're going to resurrect some ancient being or something. Maybe that's what the key is. The key is used to resurrect some ancient being to send the world into calamity. I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy.
That sets up for a war arc perfectly.
Definitely. Well, next week we're going to be talking about 10 through 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 episodes. Watch episodes 10 through 13 of The God of High School, so you can talk about it with us, give us your thoughts in the Discord and all that stuff. And then we're going to rank it here on our list of all the anime we've seen in season 2. We've seen a lot of anime here. Where's it going to rank? S, A, B, C, D, F. And you can help rank that anime as well. I'm going to be putting a link in the Discord for you to vote on what you think The God of High School deserves. Is it going to be an S rank anime? I don't know. Those votes also collaborated with our votes, get put into one, and it has one full rank and it gets to sit somewhere on our board here. Matt, when you're not fighting in a tournament, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my socials, just add an ITS at the front, at it's Matt_Galley, where sometimes I post brain rot. Or you can follow me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley, where I will be posting videos in the future. Jules, when we're not here talking about the Tower of the God of High School, where can the people find you?
Find me on social media at JulesTheHuman, at JULES the Human, on all social media, on Instagram, posting a lot of stories, and on YouTube. I have videos and stuff. I don't know when I'm going to go live. I just came back from vacation. I was in Wisconsin, and I went to the beach last week, so I don't know how much content I'm going to be making. Ate a lot of cheese. I'm full of cheese. So I don't know how much content I'm going to be making, but yeah, stay here and come back live next week, next Wednesday. Wednesday, episode 10 through 13 of The God of High School. Watch that. Come over here. Give us your votes. Let us know what you thought and talk about it. And we pick a brand new anime. One of these. Woo! Any of these anime.
Jules needs to figure one out.
Yeah.
Probably
it might be Chainsaw.
Probably Jujutsu Kaisen, right?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Oh, God. I will quit this show. See y'all next week for The God of High School, episode 10 through 13. Bye.
Bye.